Be great, no questions.
I know.
I'd go over to Sunset Grill, get a chicken.
Fellow over here with the hat on.
How long did it take? How long did you spend struggling as a struggling artist before you made your first break?
Well, I made my first record 42 years ago in a local band at home in Oklahoma City, and we played around there and were fairly popular, and we made a record. It's interesting in that we had no expectations of what was, if anything would happen, and we made this record, and lo and behold, they started playing it, around locally in Oklahoma City, and kind of became a regional hit in that area. And I was a 17-year-old kid, and I was riding around in the city, and I heard my voice and my playing on the radio for the first time, and I can still drive you to that very spot, And what was interesting is what it did to me was it instilled a sense of hope, that if you do something, maybe something can come of it, and not an expectation, but a hope, and kind of lived on that all these years. And just that hope that if I did something, somebody would respond to it. I met a lot of young guitar players here today before we came out here, and it's just fun to see, the generations come and the generations come, and it lets me know that music is in great hands because there's young people that are inspired to want to play, like I was. And like I said, I moved out here as a 19-year-old kid and was in a band and started recording and started playing with people and just networking and finding my way to this and that. And to me, I never did set my sights on success being a result of how much money I made, or if I sat at the top of the charts, or this or that. I said, if I can pay the rent and not have to get a real job, I'm winning. So away I went, and I had some good success with Pure Prairie League, and I felt successful even in those mid-70 years playing with some of the bluegrass bands. They were some of the best musicians in the world of bluegrass, so I think I was lucky early on. I was playing with a lot of great people that were inspiring to play with, and from that led to Pure Prairie League and a couple of hits, and got to be on American Bandstand, and then I got a record deal in the early 80s, and then I started to struggle trying to make it as a country music singer. And I'm flattered that I've been honored as a guitar player here today, because that's what I was first and what I always wanted to be most. I just knew that if I was involved in country music, that the ticket to having some success was going to be through the way I could sing. And I would let my guitar playing just unfold, and people would discover it little by little. And it was interesting about country music is there, historically there's not tons of guitar gods in country music like there is in rock and roll or blues or what have you. And so I knew right away that if I was going to have some success, I'd better write some good songs and sing, and let people discover that I can play. Little by little they did. And it's been, I always figured that the ones that really knew I could play, and that was enough.
Anybody else? Ready?
Did you have any interesting or fun memories with Joe Walsh jamming or performing? I know I've seen you in various videos. Anything you'd like to share?
Well, it's the truth that he's one of the most inspiring players that I've ever heard and got a chance to meet. I met Joe probably back in about 1980. A friend of mine, my ex-brother-in-law, was playing in a band that opened for the Long Run tour. They were the opening act, and so I had the opportunity to maybe get to know those guys a little bit. And then all these years later, and we've gotten to play on a few sessions together and different things. And the real, I think when things really changed for me, when people started, I guess, I don't know if it was discovering, but finding out about my playing, was when Eric Clapton invited me to the first Crossroads show in 2004. And when I got that phone call from Eric, I picked up the phone and he said, "Vince, it's Eric Clapton." And I said, "Yeah, sure it is." I said, who's yanking my chain? Somebody's BSing me. He's laughing. He goes, "No, it really is. It really is." He said, I want to invite you to a guitar festival I'm doing in Dallas. And he said these words to me, which I'll never forget as long as I live. He said, "I'm only inviting people that play the guitar that I like. And so just that affirmation, you know, even at whatever that was, 12 years ago, I was 47 years old or whatever, even at that stage of life, getting that kind of affirmation is life-changing. You know, you never stop wanting to respond to what it is that you're doing. I always feel like music has been the opportunity to have a conversation with people. And when you play something or you sing something or you write something and someone responds to it, it was the whole point of doing it. So over the years, Joe and I have gotten to be, you know, better and better friends. We're talking about even having some fun and make some music together and maybe record together and see what turns out. Because I got to tell you, he's absolutely one of my most inspirational heroes. And what I love about Joe Walsh, the way that he plays, is he plays with such great patience. Most guys are they're gonna put the guitar on and play you everything they know in the first 5 minutes. And I've known about Joe's playing for about 45 years now, and I still think he's holding a good bit of it back. But I love how slinky and greasy the way he plays the instrument, and it's inspiring to see him continually do that and inspire young people. I saw him visiting with the same young people I got to meet today, and when somebody that you admire, like Joe, is kind to you, it will change your life. It's something you'll never ever forget. When I was that 19-year-old kid running around here, and I used to go eat chili cheeseburgers next door at the old Sunset Grill before they tore it down. They got a new one over there. I'm kind of anxious to try it. But you know, anybody that was ever nice to me, I never forgot it. So I've tried to be the same.
It was great watching you guys talk to the young musicians who you met, you know, and realizing that moment when you do meet somebody who's your idol, if they're nice to you, it makes all the difference. So that was fascinating watching those interactions. Good Eric Clapton impression there as well. Over here.
Hi, I'm Mary Kay from Country Music Matters and Country Music Tattletale. Who have you not performed with that you would have liked to have or would still like to?
Oh gosh, I don't have a clue. You know, honestly, I couldn't have dreamed up the collaborations I've had in this 42 years. I think I don't even know the number, I hate to guess, but I know it's 700, 800, 900 artists over the years that I've played and sang on their records and been a part of. When I was young, what I aspired to do was, I used to read the back of record covers back when they had big LPs. You could read the credits of who played on everything. I would buy records from people I'd never even heard of. The artist I wouldn't even know, but I would see a Robin Ford or Larry Carlton or a great guitar player or something, and I would go, I want to get this record just to be inspired by some of these guys on it. So when I was fortunate enough to get invited to play and sing on people's records, it was what I'd always dreamed of. And just recently this year, I got to sing with my all-time hero, Merle Haggard. He's making a new record. I got to sing on 4 Things, and that's like a childhood dream that comes true. You know, you never realize it's going to, but now at 58, almost 59, that opportunity showed itself. I got to, the group Joe mentioned, the Time Jumpers. We're a Western swing band. We play old school kind of swing music from the 40s, like Bob Wills used to play, and we have the best time. We play every Monday night in Nashville, and we got to be part of Willie Nelson's new record that he's doing in tribute to Ray Price. And we played all the great shuffles like Heartaches by the Number, Invitation to the Blues, things like that. And I got the hardest job I've ever had in my whole life was to sing harmony with Willie Nelson. And I don't know if you've ever tried it, but it's not easy. But, you know, just time after time after time, you just pinch yourself. Just recently, Joe and I got to play together on a new Sheryl Crow record. And I'm sitting there playing guitar, looking over the room and going, I can't believe this. There's Funk 49, Rocky Mountain Way dude sitting next to me. We're both playing the guitar. You know, you can't dream that stuff up. And so at this point in life, I didn't make a list when I was 16 and say I want to go play with all these people. so I'm certainly not going to make one now.
Question over.
Quick question. I realized to be on the RockWalk, you were voted in by other amazing players. Maybe this is more for Nick and Jake and David. But who are some of the people that are currently on the council that voted Vince in today?
We have one of our founders, Dave Weiderman, who goes on there, and also a board of members that vote on. But they got to be 20 plus years in the music industry, and Vince is just a perfect candidate for one of these. So.
There's a question over here.
You have a
So
new
somebody
album-
put their hand up.
You have a new album coming out. Can you talk about your inspirations and your songwriting process?
You know, I've got a new record coming. It comes out on the 12th of February. It has a very, to me, a humorous title. It's called Down to My Last Bad Habit. And I just went in the vintage room here at Guitar Center, and that's a pretty good indication of what my last bad habit is great old guitars. And I have a crazy collection of great instruments, and I've always loved picking them up from time to time. And to me, the point sometimes of having a great collection of great instruments is I feel like, in a way, I'm saving these instruments. And these instruments get to have a musical life instead of maybe getting purchased by somebody that's going to put them in a glass case and they never get to be played again. The only reason that instrument does what it does best is when it's played. So I hate to see great instruments not have the opportunity to do what they were made to do. So I've got a new record full of new songs, and you know, I talk a lot about how old I am, and it's because it's apparent that, you know, I probably don't have as much time left to record and make music as I've had to this point. I don't have as many years left, and I'm grateful for everything I've done, but it really is inspiring to want to still be creative and trust my ears. My ears tell me I play better than I ever have, sing better, write better, all those things. And it's interesting that if I see my projection going up and all that, then it's inspiring to continue to want to do it. So away I go. Here's a new bunch of songs. Hope people respond.
We have time for 2 more questions, so if you want to ask, shoot now. Over here.
You mentioned your large collection of instruments. I'm sure you have many guitars. Do you have a sentimental favorite or the one you always reach for first?
Oh, I probably have a couple that are really dear. You know, I have the ones that my father were his, and he's passed on. Has been there a long time, close to 20 years. But those are the ones I learned on, so they're extremely precious. They're not valuable, but they're precious.
What are they?
One's an ES 125, and one's an Archtop Harmony. And neither one, they're both very, very hard to play. Not inspiring to play at all, but in fact, they were my old bands. They're priceless. And then I bought a 53 Telecaster in 1978, and that, if I'm defined by a guitar, it's that one. It's a white Fender Telecaster, and for some reason that was meant for my hands. And I've got probably a dozen more of that era of early 50s Fenders, and none of them have the mojo that one does. And it's interesting that was the first one I ever got. And then an acoustic guitar that I bought when I was 18. I moved to Louisville, Kentucky for a year to play some bluegrass, and I was in a band for a while with Ricky Skaggs, great musician and a great friend. And when I moved up there, I wasn't going to go to college. I was going to play music, and I found this old pre-war Martin. It was made in 1942 that this guy had for sale at a festival, and it was in just brand new condition. And I opened that case up, and I saw that. Always had wanted an old Martin, and wound up trading the guitar I had and about $1,500-1,600 cash, and that money that I spent on that guitar was all the money I had. I had saved that money from all the gigs in high school. And that was my college education, so it was going to be for my future. And so there I was dead broke. I had a job with this band, but I had this great old pre-war Martin P28, and I still have that one today. So I would have to say those 2 instruments are probably the most defining of the ones that I have.
One last question, if anybody has one.
Hey, Vince.
Oh, up top of the back, sorry.
Hi, congratulations. You've achieved so much professionally. Is there anything on your personal bucket list that you want to do this year?
Make it to 59. That's a big one. I love life. I love life so very much. And it was, it was precious to me to get to have Joe be a part of this today. Because he's been inspiring me, like I said, since I was a teenager. And in the last 2 weeks, the passing of Glenn was a huge loss. I think that that legacy of songs, Glenn and Don and Joe and those guys, that what they created has really shaped our culture as much as anybody musically in history. So I know he's out here with a tender heart and loss of a good brother and all that. So it was just great to hug his neck and get to see his face today. And in my home life is beautiful. I'm married to the kindest soul I've ever met. And, that's why I play the blues, is because my life's perfect.
Thank you so much for being here. Thanks to Joe Walsh for the introduction. And once more, thank you, Vince Gill.